A hedge fund manager in Austin, Texas pays Comcast $104 a month for fiber internet. He also pays AT&T $52 a month for a completely separate connection he almost never touches. That second bill exists purely as insurance against the first one failing. He calls it his redundancy tax. And he says any serious earner who skips it is playing a dangerous game with their income. That stopped me cold when I first heard it. Because nobody teaches you this. Not your parents. Not any financial literacy class. The entire conversation about wealth is built around cutting expenses. Cancel subscriptions. Make coffee at home. Stop the bleeding. But here is a man adding a deliberate, monthly, recurring cost that he fully expects to waste most of the time. And he is not alone. This is the part that should bother you personally. If your income depends on being online, freelancing, trading, running a remote business, doing client calls, a single internet outage does not just inconvenience you. It costs you money in real time. One dropped connection during a sales call can kill a deal worth thousands. One outage during a market open can cost a trader more in 15 minutes than that second internet bill costs in a full year. The people who figured this out stopped treating internet reliability as a utility question. They started treating it as a business continuity question. That reframe alone is worth more than the $52. Here is the story that made this concrete for me. A woman named Diane runs a remote consulting practice out of Denver. She charges clients $400 an hour. 3 years ago, her ISP had a regional outage on a Tuesday morning. She lost a 2-hour strategy session she could not reschedule. That is $800 gone in one morning. Her provider gave her a credit for $11. $11. Against $800. She added a cellular backup connection the following week. It costs her $60 a month. In the 3 years since, it has saved her from 4 separate outages. The math is not complicated. 12 months times $60 is $720 a year. 4 outages, each representing at minimum 1 client session, would have cost her $3,200 in lost billable time. The redundancy paid for itself inside the first year and has been pure protection money ever since. And if that surprised you, subscribe right now. This channel covers the financial behaviors that serious earners actually practice, not the stuff financial media packages for mass appeal. We go into the mechanics that most people never see because they are never invited into the room where those decisions get made. Now here is the layer that makes this more interesting. It is not just about preventing income loss. The second connection is a signal. When you install redundant internet, you are making a declaration to yourself about the nature of your work. You are saying my time online is worth protecting at a cost. That psychological shift matters more than people acknowledge. The people who build this kind of infrastructure around their work start treating their time with a different seriousness. They stop accepting conditions that undermine their productivity because they have already demonstrated, with a monthly payment, that those conditions have a price. There is a term for this in systems engineering. It is called single point of failure. Any system that can be brought down by one component failing is considered poorly designed. Engineers who build critical systems, hospitals, trading floors, data centers, eliminate single points of failure as a fundamental design principle. They do not do this because failure is likely. They do it because failure is unacceptable. The self-made earners who pay that redundancy tax have imported that thinking into their personal financial infrastructure. They are designing their income system the way engineers design systems that cannot afford to go down. Most people treat their home office like a hobby setup. One router, one ISP, one point of failure. The people clearing multiple 6 figures from that same home treat it like the business terminal it actually is. That gap in thinking is not about money. It is about identity. Once you see your setup as a professional system rather than a personal convenience, the costs you are willing to absorb to protect it change completely. So what can you actually do with this? Start with an audit. Write down every hour of your week where an internet outage would cost you money directly. Not inconvenience you, cost you. If that number is 0, skip this. But if you are doing client work, calls, remote employment, anything where your connection is your pipeline to income, price the risk honestly. Take your hourly rate or your daily income and multiply it by the realistic chance of a 2-hour outage in a given month. Most ISPs have between 99.9 and 99.5% uptime. That still means between 4 and 44 hours of potential downtime per year. Do that math with your actual numbers. Then price the solution. A cellular backup through a carrier like T-Mobile or Verizon runs between $50 and $80 a month for a dedicated hotspot with solid data. Some people use their phone plan. Others get a dedicated device. The point is that the cost is knowable and the risk is also knowable. You are not spending blindly. You are replacing an unknown catastrophic risk with a known manageable monthly cost. That is how serious earners think about almost every expense in their infrastructure. Not can I afford this? But what does it cost me not to have this? That question gets asked differently when you are building something real versus waiting for something to happen to you. The redundancy tax is not about internet. It is about the posture of someone who has decided their output has value worth protecting. The bill is $156 a month. The mindset it represents is worth a great deal more. Stay for our next video because we are going into the 4 other invisible monthly costs that high earners carry that almost nobody talks about publicly. One of them will genuinely surprise you.